rather wash windows than wrap Christmas gifts?
I would rather wash my 80-pound dog than wrap Christmas gifts.
I'd rather change diapers than wrap Christmas presents.
I'd rather go to Walmart on a Saturday than wrap Christmas gifts.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Greensboro, North Carolina, where we're enjoying a beautiful fall here. And as you know, when fall comes, that means the holidays are just around the corner. And so today, you're joining us live for a class on becoming a wrap artist. And so welcome, and I hope you have four of my friends here with me who, you know, they've had to wrap a gift or two in their life, but not real comfortable with it. And so what we're going to do is teach them how to do it, not only properly, but in a beautiful way. Before we get started, we're going to talk about some of the objectives that we have for this class. One of which, why on earth do we bother wrapping a gift? Number two, just a little bit about the history of wrapping gifts. And then of course, three, the most important part is, how do you wrap a gift? So, gentlemen, why do you think we wrap gifts? Surprise factor, ding, 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 that's number one. That's right, when the gift is wrapped, you don't know what's in it. It just makes the experience a whole lot more fun.
Kids like ripping it off.
Kids like ripping gifts off, and guess what? So do women. Being a woman, being the only woman here, I can tell you it's a lot of fun unwrapping gifts. But it also helps us to encourage family traditions. It also helps set apart a gift from just a normal, hey, I have something for you. And as we know, presentation is everything. You know, if you're going to go interview for a job, you know, you dress up, you present yourself in a nice way. And so it just helps make the event just a little bit more special. And so that's some reasons why we wrap gifts. Now there's some history behind it, of course. Believe it or not, this has been going on for a long time. They say paper was invented in China in about 100 AD. And from the very beginning of the invention of paper, the Chinese have used the art of gift wrapping and origami as a sacred art. So it's been something that people have been doing for a long time. It made its way to Egypt in about 800 AD, and then we see it coming into Europe in about 1000 AD. In the Victorian era, wrapping gifts, the more beautiful you can make it was almost a status symbol. The rest of us, of course, would just use brown paper and maybe some string and whatnot. And gifts are associated with Christmas because of the story of the three wise men bringing gifts to baby Jesus for his birth. So that's where that comes from. Now, of course, you look at our paper that we're going to be using, and you can look at the bows on the table and whatnot. And we've come a long way from brown paper to what we're going to do today. And really, the history of American gift wrapping started in the year of 1917 in Kansas City, Missouri. There was a gentleman named Joyce Hall, and can you imagine, or can you think of what company he founded? Hallmark, exactly. He's the founder of Hallmark, and him and his family, I think it was a couple of brothers, they had a greeting card type paper store. And they were selling just the regular brown type paper for gifts that people would wrap. And one year, in the year 1917, they ran out of this paper. So the brothers had to think quick. And what they did was someone ran into the back and got, I guess they used to use envelope liners that seemed to be a little bit more thin and a little bit more pretty. And they put that out to sell. You know, you got to do what you got to do to make some money. Sure enough, people loved it, and next year they came back and wanted more. And so is the birth of the American wrapping paper industry. Now I know you guys want to know more about how to do this. What I have done already, just for the sake of time, is cut your paper. Now, as someone has already said before we got started, that's the hardest part of doing your gift. So what I'd like you to do is just imagine you have this roll of paper here, and you have this box. Now, what you want to do is make sure that the width of your paper is wide enough so that it can cover the box, like so. Now, if you aren't able to do that, you might have to change the orientation of your box so that you can figure out how the paper will best fit around the box. But I've already cut it so that it'll fit here. I know that it's going to fit nicely here. Now how much paper do you cut off? Usually what you want to do is either bring it up so that over half of your box is covered, or most boxes about 2 inches will do the trick. Here we go. What you're going to want to do, what I like to do, is have a piece of tape ready in my hand, because it's kind of hard holding the paper but then having to scramble for the tape. So what I usually do is make sure that the paper is nice and flush around the box, and just put a piece of tape there so that it anchors it to the box. Then I'm going to get another piece of tape here and bring up the other piece. And again, you want to just make sure it's nice and smooth and whatnot. Now, one thing I didn't mention is you want to make sure that your box, that the top of it is facing down, okay? So that when the gift is turned over, the box is oriented for the person to open up. Then you have the ends. Now, I like to use 2 pieces of tape, especially with a box this wide. So I'm going to show you gentlemen first, and then I'll show you guys over here, the other side. But what you want to do first is you want to take the top now and then push it down like such, okay? And again, it's all about just trying to make it neat and flush. And what I do is, as I push it down to the edge, I kind of make a crease here so that you have that triangle look. You see what I'm talking about? Okay. Once you have that, you're going to pull in that crease in here. So again, it's flush. Again, you're going to make a crease here. And then you want to use a little piece of tape here to anchor. You're going to do the same thing with the other side. You're going to push it in. You're going to make sure it's flush. And you're going to make your crease. Again, with a little piece of tape to anchor. Now, I'm going to take, I think, another 2 pieces of tape here. And what you can do, if you're, especially if your edges aren't even, sometimes you cut and you get a little uneven there, you want to fold down part of the edge of the paper so that you have a nice finish. You want to bring it up, tape it in place. Because this flap up here is so wide, I use 2 pieces of tape. If it was thinner, you could get away with 1. And then you have a really nice finished look there. Now, we'll have another look at this here. Once again, we're going to push it down so it's flush. Get it to the corner. Make that crease there. Over here as well. This in here. Make your crease. Put that little piece of tape there. Do it again at the other end. Make your crease. And then again, I like to finish off the edge just to make it look a little nicer. And then you're going to flip it up. So there you have it. You have your box that's nice and finished, and hopefully it looks pretty good. Now here comes the fun part. Where do you think your box should be oriented? There you go. Very good. Now, if you have, if you're cutting, you have the roll, and you cut a little too much, it's okay, except for 2 things. You're going to waste some paper, so you don't want to waste paper. But the other thing is, the more paper that you kind of have to fold upon itself and whatnot, it gets a little bunchy. So you want to really do your best to cut the paper to size. Okay? Good. Looking flush. Very good. That's a good technique. What Brian's doing here is he folded it over and saw that the paper was a little too long. And he could have made 2 decisions. He could have said, hey, I need to borrow a scissor, and he couldn't cut it. But instead what he did was he folded over like we do with the edge. And there, as if nothing ever happened. Good job. Very creative. Oh no, it was up to the hard part. What do you think?
Well, it seems like it's a little too far. And is that all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We just have an extra.
Right. And again, in the same spot, if it's hanging over a little, you could have taken the scissor and cut a little off, but I think you're going to be okay with that. Good.